thinking here. When you say people who can speak well, write well, I think we're still coming back to the value system we've created, where we make a language superior to another language, right?
That's yeah.
English is only a language for communication. It doesn't matter how I speak it, as long as I am communicating.
Sure.
Not everybody, Finland, that I gave the example, they are not an English speaking country, to the best of my knowledge. China is not an English speaking country.
Yeah.
Okay? There are lots of countries that have gone far that are not English speaking. They speak their own language. And because they speak their own language, they understand it better.
Yeah.
Right? They're able to comprehend, all right, things better. I know it's important. Articulation is very important, but I think when I was teaching in a school, there are students that no matter how much you work with them, their English doesn't really get anywhere better. They only give you what they know, and this comes back to what they grew up
with.
Grew up with. Where we begin to victimize people and say you are speaking vernacular, so you get punished for speaking your mother tongue in school. All right?
Yeah.
Now, in as much as there could be problems coming with people, blowing any language they want to blow in school.
Yeah.
Also, I think that has translated in the way we even elect people in government. We tend to elect the people with the certificates.
Now, education is supposed to advance from where it started. But it's a decline from where we started. And these people were not, they were northerners just as we are, with their Hausa accents and Yoruba accents and Igbo accents, and yet they could learn that. And they accepted that English is going to be our method of communication. People were born, it's how many years now since independence, right? So you if I ask you, can you speak your tribal language now? Can you do that?
Yes, I do.
Fluently?
Yes, I speak. And I can read it.
Can you speak your own language?
Not really. A bit.
Okay. Same with me. A bit. If you tell me to write in my language, I can't completely write in my language, even though I'm hearing. And there are people who can't hear at all. We've left most of the languages we speak. Now, the dominant languages we have, Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba, right? Now, are you saying that, okay, our educational system now, we should throw away what has been given to us because it's not applicable to us?
The truth is, just like what he's saying, whether you speak English or you speak Spanish or you speak Yoruba, whatever language, you see, most of the people that have created certain things, most of them are not really fluent in speaking. There's something called mastery learning in education.
Yeah.
The ability for you to be able to learn at your own pace and master a thing. Now that is what is lacking. The problem is not whether you speak this language or you don't speak this language. Mm-hmm. The truth is, a point will come where you need to learn how to speak and articulate. And trust me, Google is there. There are people that have never seen the four walls of school. Yes, they speak very well. So the problem is not whether you know how to speak or not. The problem is, are you thinking?
Yes.
True. That's the issue. Because I have seen, we have a lot of dropouts, which I'm not saying anybody should drop out, but we have a lot of dropouts
who got frustrated.
Who are better off now in terms of business, in terms of speaking. So it is not a matter of whether you were taught how to speak or not. The thing is, we are not being educated the right. We are being miseducated. We are being miseducated. Yes. And that's why we are still where we are today. Because the truth is, if you ask me, in this pandemic, this is the best time to get it right. Because a lot of things have been exposed. Yeah. I've watched certain teachers come on television and they are teaching, and I'm like, man, is this what is being taught in school? And I want parents to begin to look at these things and ask themselves, if this is what is being taught to your child in school, give your child 20 years from now, where do you think your child is going to be? Or what do you think is going to become? I was watching a 12-year-old in I think is Korean, and he's an ethical hacker. He was working with the government. He's just thinking of how he can actually help the cyber, because everybody's online now, so people are hacking a lot of things and all that. So he's trying to see how you can help to, safeguard, the networking, the online space and all that, safeguard people's documents and stuff like that. Now, this is a 12-year-old who has been taught to think rightly, and he's trying to solve a problem. What if now that our children are at home, we begin to teach them how to think properly and do things for themselves? Because I kind of feel like this whole school thing is being overrated.
Now, I understand exactly where you are going. There was a question a friend of mine asked me. He said, what would you do in a situation where, yes, you train the child, yes, you give him the right information, but the environment he lives in does not support?
When you say you train a child, what do you mean?
Okay, this is what I mean. You were talking about, I could remember you were telling me about one of your classes where your students were told to invent, to have ideas and figure out how they will create such things, right? Now, I'm taking you back to the reward system. You live in a society that does not reward thinkers.
All right, let me
Right?
Okay.
It's over time.
Okay.
You who goes to invent, you who goes to think,
begin to lose your
you
energy.
begin to lose your energy.
Okay.
You begin to get discouraged, that finally you just feel like, okay, you know what, let me just go find the 9 to 5 and just deal with it like everybody else.
All right, now from this thing you just said now, do you know that there are people in Nigeria right now that work from home for companies abroad? Are you aware of
I
that?
know.
What kind of environment are they? Are they in? We are all in this same environment. The problem is there are certain things you could do as a person, as an individual, that positions you not even for your environment but for the international community. There are young people who are creating. I was on Facebook the other day, and on a particular page on pulse.ng, where they were talking about a 22-year-old that just sold an app for 22 million naira. This is in Nigeria. There are people who do their works and they upload on Fiverr. People go there and buy it. On Upwork, there are different sites where Nigerians who are creative, just in their little cocoons, are at home with their computer and the little internet they have, and they are making stuff. Let's not make this look as though it's an environment thing. Yes, we know environments have a way of affecting, and all that, but the truth is, let's begin to look at ourselves as a single entity, what you choose to. We all went through the university system, the secondary school system and all that, and they all have the truth is that most of us couldn't graduate with the first class in code because we are always not in class.
Yeah.
I personally was always not in class because I felt that what they were teaching me, give it 2 to 3 years, give it 10 years, I was not going to use it. I studied physics, and there was a particular subject called Kepler's laws, and it was 1 to 80, 1 to 881, long equations like that and all that, and I was supposed to cram all that and come and write it. And when I studied about Kepler, I got to realize that Kepler was someone who was creative. He was someone who knew how to meditate. So he went out one day and he was just looking at the sun and he was like, what if I call this space from here to this space R? So that's how he was formulating the equations. People like Thomas Edison and the rest of them, they are people that sat down, they began to think. If you check most of the inventions, the computers, the phones, every single thing you're using today, check how they were educated. So we need to go back to, okay, you're not in school, or you didn't do PhD, or you onto what? That's the question.
You know the typical mindset here is my life starts after university,
which is wrong.
You see a lot of young people with potential who are even discouraged from harnessing their potentials to actually make a difference in their society. They're waiting for when they'll finish their degree, drop the certificate at home, and then begin to pursue their own. But the thing is, after a while, passion begins to die.
Yeah.
A lot of dreams begin to die. We need to have a system where people begin to know that my life begins when I come into this world,
Exactly.
right? Not after university.
After
You
you've
know,
been
we have this
educated
life
wrongly.
circle.
Now, this is where I'm coming from. Life does not exist in a vacuum. That's what you all don't get. There
Okay.
are forces that contribute to the learning process of every being. The guy you're talking about, if you check, somebody was brought into that guy's life that altered his way of thinking. And not everybody has that kind of person in their life. Somebody had to teach him how to create the software and how to do this and how to do that. I could remember a roommate of mine who said for him, when they were learning about coding and all those stuff, the thing was so expensive. But his dad was able to afford to pay for him. He's not using it, right? He's doing something different right now. He's even left the country.